We do. Let's go to Dr. David Samadi, our buddy, Vice Chair of the Department of Urology and Chief of Robotics and Minimally Invasive Surgery at the Mount Sinai School of Medicine. Did I hear another hospital involved or something? Or no?
Yeah, after July, Steve, I actually got promoted to be the chair of urology, chairman of urology at Lenox Hill Hospital.
Oh, congratulations. I heard them saying Lenox Hill in the control room, and I'm saying to myself, no, that can't be right. Congratulations. That's great.
You. So we're also opening up a big prostate cancer center on Upper East Side in Madison Avenue for a lot of people that would like to have an ambience and environment that's non-threatening. It's not a cancer center, and certainly with prostate cancer, where you don't have a lot of symptoms, there's no reason for them to be next to all these other cancers like liver or pancreas. So that concept has worked out really well in combination with all these sexy robotic surgeries that we do. So that's going to open up also on July 1st, and everyone is really excited about it.
Well, congratulations. That is exciting news. It's nice to hear some good news from the medical profession. As we stare down Obamacare in the face. So that's great to hear. All right, let me ask you some questions. First of all, when did kids start getting allergic to peanuts and all? I mean, every trip a kid goes on in school, anytime any parent wants to bring anything to school, right away they tell you can't bring peanuts, you can't bring this, you can't bring that because kids are allergic. And I know peanut allergies are very serious. Kids swell up and they could die. But, I mean, I grew up as a kid and nobody I knew had peanut allergies. Where did they come from?
Well, it's a very interesting concept. It's true because when we grew up, we didn't hear about any of this stuff. And now if you look at the statistics, compared to like the last 2 decades, the number of peanut allergies have actually tripled. And, nobody knows exactly why. Some people think that this is an overreaction or overproduction of the immune system. And some of it is because there's a hypothesis. It's called a hygiene hypothesis, meaning that we're using so many of these hand lotions and we're doing so much cleaning that the kids are not exposed to any of these germs or bacteria, and you're not building any kind of immune system. If you look at, for example, like the Mediterranean culture, Italian, Greeks, Persians, they're always kissing each other, right? So they all kiss on both sides, etc. There's some germs and bacteria that goes around, and the rate of flu in those communities are much, much less because you build up some sort of like immune system. Our kids are just maybe too clean and not have enough germ, and therefore, when they get some sort of a reaction from these peanuts or other things, the immune system is not prepared, and therefore you get those kind of reactions.
That is interesting. So would you advise households to use these antibacterial soaps or not?
I think we're absolutely overdoing it. So I think that there's nothing wrong with the way we were playing in the soccer field, or once in a while get a little dirty.
Roll around in the dirt a little bit.
Absolutely. There's nothing wrong with it. I think like we were just using too many detergents and too many soaps and too many of these agents, and our bodies is kind of reacting to it, and that's what we're seeing.
That's
unusual.
That is very interesting. A friend of mine just texted me and said, ask him about pine nuts. Now, I mean, you're not an allergist, so it might be a crazy thing to ask you, but I went to eat with this friend up at a restaurant in New York, and I came home. This is about a year or two ago, and I came home, and all of a sudden I started tasting this bitter taste in my mouth or whatever, and I looked it up, and the only thing I could find when I Googled was all these people with the same symptoms, and they were all allergic to, they had all eaten pine nuts. And I don't know where that came from with me either. I guess I'd eaten pine nuts in the past. So I called up the restaurant after the weekend was over, and I said, I told them what I had. I said, is there pine? They said, yep, we use pine nut oil in that. I said, wow.
Yeah.
So I don't know how that happened.
Well, again, it's all part of the way your immune system is built up. And if you really haven't been exposed to it, see what happens is exactly like the flu system. You get the flu shot, which is like a very small or short version of any kind of bacteria. Your immune system will build it up. So when the actual flu season starts, now you have your defense mechanism. So if you haven't been exposed to these pine nuts or other nuts or peanuts or other things, if you have not been exposed to it, your immune system hasn't been prepared to defend it. And when you get it, it's a disaster.
Right.
That's one of the reasons why, we see a lot of this.
All right, we're talking to Dr. David Samadi here on the Steve Malzberg Show. All right, let's move on to the decision by the Obama administration not to challenge the judge's ruling with regard to the so-called morning after pill. And so now little girls any age could go to the drugstore and buy this morning after pill without a prescription, without an adult. And you and I have talked about this before, but at least there was some age limitation, and we thought the administration was going to fight for an age limitation. But now, where we were talking about 16 years old, maybe 15 years old, now we're talking about a 12-year-old, an 11-year-old could walk into the store, buy it, and open it on her own and take it.
Yeah. I really don't understand the logic behind it. And they've been going back and forth, and now they're exposing a lot of young teenagers, encouraging the kind of behavior that it's okay to basically slip around and do whatever you want to do because we have this pill available, and you can always walk in without prescription and get this kind of medications. I think it's going to encourage, wrong behavior without control of the parents. The parental guidance and being able to at least get a prescription and notifying the parents or know what's going on was the only defense mechanism that we had as parents, and now that's all gone. So I'm not sure where the country is headed and what this is about, but it doesn't sound really good, and medically it doesn't make much of a sense to expose these young teenagers to this kind of medications.
No, I agree. All right, now you and I have talked about menopause and quote-unquote male menopause and low T and all that kind of stuff. And I saw a story at foxnews.com which caught my eye. And to me, I don't know, it just sounds like kind of another, if it's serious, and I think it's serious, a theory that might be designed to go after men. It says, hot flash, men may be the cause of menopause, according to a new study. And they talk about, basically, it's the fact that, and it's in the June 13th Journal of PLOS, Computational Biology, and it says that women go through menopause because men have consistently preferred younger women in recent evolutionary history, according to this study. So, they say, menopause is not evolutionary advantageous, and may be the result of a series of random, harmful mutations that accumulated in women but weren't acted on by evolution because the women had already reproduced by the time the mutations affected them. What does that mean? What on earth does that mean?
You sound exactly like a doctor, which is one of the things that I've told every physician when they get on TV or radio, to stay away from speaking the medical language.
Well, I'm just reading what it says because I can't interpret it. Yeah.
Like a full professor from a major institution. I have no idea what you just read. But basically, I think what this is about, it's a little confusing study, but they're saying that men and women are living longer and longer. And when they get to a certain age, it's almost like men as they get older, it's like red wine. They get better and better. Whereas women, they really go through menopause. Our menopause for men is not real. It's a very slow, gradual decrease in testosterone. But for women, it's a very abrupt. They get to 49 or 52, they feel it, hormonal level changes, etc. And after that, all the menopausal symptoms. As men get older, they try to pick younger women. They try to choose younger women, and they always try to marry younger women. That's why you see a lot of these marriages 5, 10 years younger women. So that evolution won't affect men as much as women because you can still function even in your 50s and 60s, whereas with women, it's not the case. So, it's an interesting study. I don't know what the best message is, but if you have a choice of marrying someone who's 10 years younger than you, that would be the way to go.
Does that advice go for women too?
Well, that's becoming the latest fashion. Look at Hollywood. All the women are starting to also go out with guys that are 30 years younger. So
that's true, but I don't know how many of them actually married them, but that's a good point. Good point. All right, Doc, listen, have a great Father's Day.